Well, hello everyone. How are you doing? Yes, it is very frigid where I am at today. So let's get our frequencies in line. Yes, the higher frequencies. Wasn't that something yesterday on a second look with Trina? That's why lower frequencies can't be in the presence of a higher frequency. It'll shatter them. And here is another one. So this is ultra high. See if you get this one, folks. You hearing that? Yeah, there are frequencies animals can hear, but we can't. And yet we are considered to be the top of the food chain? I don't know. What goes up must come down. Isn't that true? Welcome, everyone. So good to see everyone. May I just invoke favor upon you this day, no matter where you are, no matter what your life circumstance, and no matter what the situation may be. Favor is always with you. You will always come out on top. You will never be beneath. You will always be the head, and you shall all not be the tail. Yes, that's how we hang here. So nothing missing, nothing broken be in your life. And we speak complete restoration. That which has been stolen from you, that which has been conspired against you, however it is in your life, favor will always make it balance out. So that's how it is. So how is everybody? Hello, Darth. How you doing? Hey, David Barry. How you doing, my friend? Grandpa, good to see you. Hello, Cajun Queen Tarot. Lois. Got your email. Just have to get back to it. I am going to have Lois on, and we're going to do what really is becoming almost an annual event here. We've been doing these noonday shows for over a year now, and Lois has been on several times during the year, and Thanksgiving and Christmas is her biggest need on the food pantry that she runs. So we're going to make sure that that happens. So Lois, I'll get to you. And there's just so many people here. Hello to everybody. I'll just say it that way. It's cold, man. Yeah. You want to know how cold it is? Let me show you something. No, I'll wait for that. And it's part of our presentation anyway. So happy birthday to those who are having one, and anniversaries, whatever it be, wedding, whatever, It's like really cold outside, folks. I was out there going to actually remove snow. Said, no way. I think at that point it was 4 degrees. Yeah, that's not fit for not man or beast. So anyway, we move on. So I want to say something, and I want to be even about this. I hope that there's a lot of people in this community. The community grows. It stays pretty constant for the most part, but we see new people coming in. I think the word is getting out that this is a pretty cool place to be. We don't, judge anyone. We don't push an agenda. We don't, we respect everyone here. And that's what makes it the group that it is. And there are some great people. The moderators in here are all trusted people that I trust. And they have completely shown that they are well-balanced, knowledgeable people, enlightened people. And it's a lot to their credit. And the rest of you who come each day and join us, we cover great topics here. We try to approach it from a neutral position. We look at the subject matter and we discuss it. We don't draw conclusions because I don't think that that's possible in this realm. I don't know. Maybe the departure or the transmutation from life out of this body to the next. That we can say is truth, certainty. But every once in a while, we get people that they're struggling. I think mentally, emotionally. Some are very confused, and regrettably, it shows up in places. I had to take something that happened today because I was threatened by someone in this community. Yeah, sent an email, text from their cell phone to my email, which is not really smart. You know, in the United States, if you send a threatening text or email threatening physical harm, that falls underneath the Domestic Terrorism Act. It's a felony. And that's happened to me this morning. Isn't that wonderful? The way to wake up, you turn on things and you get something like that. And, you know, listen, no one forces anyone to be here. If you don't like what's being said, then leave. But do not ever threaten anyone with violence. It never ends well. Now, I just invoke favor upon that situation, and I've taken care of what I had to do, and legally, because legally I report it. Yeah, I don't know you. I don't know you more than what the words that you write. But when you send me an email threatening my life, well, Jackson, you just crossed the line. And what you're going to find is not the very congenial Wayne, the teacher. You will find the warrior Wayne, and you don't want to mess with the warrior Wayne. Never works out good for anybody. So anyway, let's just move on. And as a group, we just invoke, favor upon all people, no matter what their position is. So there we go. We're going to be talking about channeling. Yes, it is amazing to see how many of us, well, in fact, all of us are channelers. So in the custom of what we do when we get together and come together for some good teaching. So anyway, you want to know how much snow I've gotten in my backyard in the last 3 days? And the bottom one, you can see the bottom layer that had actually melted. So got some snow here, folks, and it's cold. I'm talking cold, man. Anyway, so channeling, don't we all? And it's very true. We do. I believe, and I believe you will see as well at the end of this presentation, and particularly this program, that I think it's one of what distinguishes as human beings. You never come across when you're doing these programs, you're looking at all different types of data, and you come across something and you go, wow, that moment, that epiphany, you go, wow. Well, if that's true, yeah. So anyway, now, do you know that there is a aspect of physics dealing with channeling? Yeah, in fact, there is a software program. There is actually a whole program in the tech community that deals with channeling. Oracle, it's one of their products is called channeling. And guess what? In the same phraseology that they're using, they use the term medium of the internet. Huh? Imagine that. All right, so what does that mean? I thought I'd put this here because this is rather interesting. Channeling is the process that constrains the path of a charged particle in a crystalline solid. My. This community, just the synchronicities, this keep growing. Let's go on, continue on. This is cool. Many physical phenomena can occur when a charged particle, get that, physical phenomenon, is incident upon a solid target, such as elastic scattering, inelastic energy loss processes, secondary electron emission, electromagnetic radiation, nuclear reactions, etc. Is the lights going off, folks? Let's continue. All of these processes have cross sections which depend on the impact parameters involved in collisions with individual target atoms. When the target material is homogeneous and isotropic, the impact parameter distribution is independent of the orientation of the momentum of the particle, and interaction processes are also orientation independent. Just means it has structure, laws, parameters. Momentum, impact, yeah. Okay. Now, this is the interesting thing. When the target material is monocrystalline, the yields of physical processes are very strongly dependent on the orientation of the momentum of the particle relative to the crystalline axes and planes. Oh, folks, we're talking about this plane of reality at such a subatomic level, using crystalline solids. Or, in other words, the stopping power of the particle is much lower in certain directions than others. This effect is commonly called the channeling effect. It is related to other orientation-dependent effects, such as particle diffraction. These relationships will be discussed later in detail. I just want you to stop right now and just think about that. This is wild. There is a proverb that says, the smallest rules the largest. All right, let's go on. You see this? I did this for decades. This is channeling. Yep. In fact, if you come from a religious, let's say Abrahamic background, you are a proficient channeler. Bet you didn't know that, did you? In fact, we all are. But this is channeling. All of these are channeling. Ready? Prayer, meditation, trance, daydreaming. Bet you didn't think about daydreaming as channeling. In fact, those of us as children who were reprimanded repeatedly because we were the daydreamers, we were channeling. In fact, I would say that we were more proficient in receiving than sending out, if that makes sense. Yes, we are born natural channelers. Remarkable, isn't it? So, what we're finding out is we just discovered in one of the practical applications of physics the definition of channeling is not so much different than what we do if you pray, if you meditate. And the thing about it is, our construct of thinking is so limited on a dimensional point of view. The fact is, there are absolutely unknown realms that exist that we have no comprehension. We haven't even begun to fathom, other than to say they're beyond our comprehension at this point in time in our development. If we ever develop. I say we are. I think something's changed. But in any case, the unknown realms. And the thing about it is, folks, thought has no limitations in the constraints of magnetism, gravity, mass, substance. Thought has laws and parameters of its own science that we're just now beginning to understand. We've deployed a lot of that in our modern day communication. You know, when you look at fiber optics, we're now sending information layered upon photons. It's opening new doors. I am an open channel for exquisite, endless, abundant creativity in many forms. Those of us who possess gifts, talents, all do. Many lie dormant. But that creativity is connected to something that is channeling it into you. Listen, we talked about prayer, the Bible, the Quran. Every religious book on this planet was channeled. No exemptions. Every one of them were. It just depends on what type of sunglasses you have on, darling. Pay attention to all the little manifestations. This should be a guiding rule for all of us. It's because when you learn to start out small, particularly in channeling, you begin to rack up victories. These victories will increase your trust in the process. The more you trust, the easier attracting becomes. This holds true in so many areas of our lives. All humans channel. We're natural channelers. I mean, it's amazing. When we get together as a group, and I believe that there will be conventions and get-togethers where people will begin to copy this, but where we're going to come together with clear intention to group channel. I think the higher the amplification, the greater the opportunity of higher intelligences responding. Channeling is a natural form of communication between humans and angelic beings, native spirits, non-physical entities, or even animals and pets. A channeler is very similar to a language translator or interpreter. They allow themselves to sense the nonverbal communication from another being and then translate it into human words. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me right now. I'm going to show you, to all of you who have come out of Christianity, how you've been doing this. Now, those of you who particularly know 1 Corinthians 12, Ishantosi kamodlete morota salete. Ishantosaka edneento basino sateete. Do you not understand that which is spoken? Folks, if you've ever prayed in tongues and had the interpretation, or have been in a service where tongues were spoken and received the interpretation, you are a channeler. Damn good at it too, by the way. Now, why can't I still do that? I despise that religion. I denounced all my associations with it, its gods and its concepts, but yet I can still do it just like that. We continue. A channeler can choose who or what they want to channel, as long as the other party has an interest in communicating. The link is made and the channeling can begin. For instance, many people channel Archangel Michael. I know a lot of people who channel with the archangels. I know those who channel with the archdemons. It's just they're all ETs. Yeah. You just got to, again, change the sunglasses, darling. If he agrees to communicate with the channeler, the flow of nonverbal information begins. The channeler receives the raw information at a high sensory level and then converts it into human language. Folks, human language is the stupidest language there is. It's the dumbest of dumb. All right, misconceptions about channeling. Contrary to popular belief, entities do not generally use human language because it is considered awkward and clumsy. The richer essence of their message is conveyed through an elegant series of sensory feelings. Yes, spirits possess heightened feelings, whether they be up or whether they be down. Another popular misconception is that a channeler must go into a deep trance state or surrender their body and or mind to the entity. In reality, the entity does not have to enter the body or mind of the channeler, and in fact, can actually be millions of light years away or even in another dimension. However, channeling is similar to any other form of communication. Verbal communication, body language, physical senses, art, and so on. I know people who communicate through the tattoos on their body. They're channeling a message. Channelers, that express a message which is then subject to the receiver's understanding. Most well-known channelers today remain aware of themselves and the activities going on in the room, while at the same time focusing their senses and attention on the entity they are channeling. Contemporary channelers do not generally leave their bodies or surrender their minds during the communication process. You just saw it live. Nothing possessed me. Some people fear channeling because they don't understand the process. They think that a negative or dark entity can come in without permission. This is not the case. The channeler always retains the choice of who or what they want to channel, just like they have the choice of who they want as friends or business associates. The channeler can insist on knowing the name and origins of any entity or angelic being who wants to communicate with them. Experienced channelers understand that just because an entity wants to communicate doesn't mean that the entity is necessarily enlightened. Remember that, folks, seriously. The channeler should discern for themselves the level of enlightenment of the entity and the value of their information. Some entities just like to chat, like, hey, how's it going, man? Others can have an agenda. We've been watching you. And there are also many entities who have a desire to provide enlightened guidance and counsel. Here's the thing, folks, you pet owners, we are versed in not only sending, but receiving. Yes, the remarkable thing about pet owners, those that are whisperers to the animal kingdom, we are channelers. They're channeling to us. Remarkable to think that an animal can channel, but they can. And do it better than we can. Channeling pets is one of the easiest forms of this art. That's because they do not use human language, but they have a strong desire to communicate with humans. Simply release the concept that you'll hear words and allow yourself to feel your pet. As you open yourself to the feeling, the mind will naturally begin to place simple words or phrases in the feelings so that your human consciousness will have a greater understanding of the communications. My dog Dancer has the most, Lynn, people that come and visit us, the dog and I, we communicate in a language. She lets me know her thoughts, vice versa, but it's very easy for me, and she will only come to me. Lynn can be sitting right in the den or wherever, and no, because the dog and I communicate. There is a telepathic connection, a channeling. If you want to communicate back to your pet, let go of the need to use words. Instead, allow your feelings to open and flow to your pet. In the early stages of working with this type of communication, it may be helpful to imagine pictures or visuals when communicating with your pet. As you become more confident and proficient in this type of communication, the information will flow quickly and easily, and you won't have the need to use pictures or images anymore. And many of you already know this. You're experiencing this. So the thing is, the key here is discernment. You've got to be mature. You're no newbie. Most of you here are old, but old is only in a time reference. We come from a place where there is no time. When we return back, folks, it's going to be as though this was like a blink of an eye. Always use discernment when it comes to channeling, or for that matter, any verbal or non-verbal communication. When listening to a non-physical entity through a human channeler, ask yourself if the energy feels right. There are so many empaths in here that you know it, you can judge it, you can immediately sense it. If the message is empowering and inspiring, if the message is intelligent and of high consciousness, and if the entity understands the human journey, go. Remember, there's a lot of the energies and a lot of beings, and whatever you want to call them out there, they ain't human. Neither are we. But to refine that statement, they do not know the human experience. That's a key difference. Be especially discerning when it comes to alien entities, because oftentimes these are just earthbound beings, spooks, masquerading as superior aliens. They know, folks. They listen. They watch. I contend much of the UFO community have been bamboozled by the fact that what they're seeing is nothing more than probably their ancestors. We're so limited. We think that They can't manifest in the sky as they're going to, come on. Remember this, there is no being grander than a human being. You see, we're beings. We just get to wear the merit badge that we are and have been experienced as human beings. Probably other beings out there that we've been as well. Our minds never stop channeling. When you dream, you're channeling. Probably when you cross over, you're channeling. I think it has it. And the thing about it is that there's mysteries yet to be discovered. We don't know it all. And the minute when someone says they do, run like hell away from them. No one knows it all. There are mysteries about our planet, about our existence, how we interact, the channeling, how far the channeling can reach, planes, levels, states of being, states of consciousness, states of transmutations. Even the smallest shift in energy is enough to activate infinite possibilities. That's what's happening now, and it's not a small shift. This is big time. If you have the power of turning all negative vibes in your path into positive energy, you have learned the meaning of life. And the higher intelligences will be in touch with you. They'll begin to prepare you. There's some amongst us that's happening to you now. You were created to channel. It's in our DNA. It's in our genetic makeup. You can't escape it. You can deny it. You can allow it to lay dormant in your consciousness, super consciousness, subconscious, whatever the state of consciousness you are. My wife and I, it's amazing. We call it telepathy, but it's channeling. Just depends on the sunglasses, darling. So let us reach out and start a conversation. There are planes and realities and dimensions that each of us have the capacity of plugging into. Many of us do it regularly. There are those, if you can see, and if you're really good, look at this picture. Who sees the other being? If you caught that from the beginning, congratulations, you're well on your way. The fact is, many of us have already been in contact, I believe, with the realms that we're about to enter into. It's happening. The time of preparation is now. Otherwise, you and I wouldn't be here discussing this. So I'm going to be using 3 different PDFs. The little book of channeling, great book. All of these are available over on the Crystal Network in our PDF section. David Berry has left the link, and I'll leave it in the description. We'll be using Edgar Cayce's book on channeling your higher self, and we'll also be referencing Opening to Channeling, how to connect with your guide. So this is what we will be studying. Give me 1 second as I get out of here. And it's amazing, isn't it? Swear, folks, when you see this and you begin to comprehend what's taking place here, it changes everything. It changes our perception on life. The fact that we could be in the midst of the most terrible war and we can reach out and channel. Now, some people would use the term prayer. I would have no argument with that term. But at the same time, I think conversely, those who can accept the term prayer has to accept the term channeling. It's the same coin on the same side. Now, this opens up a whole new realm. I think this goes beyond spiritualism. I think it exceeds probably the boundaries of science, but yet science very clearly is into channeling. That's remarkable when you think about this. It changes the dimensions on the way that our brains will begin to find that state of being. It's like advancing from the single plane of chess to three-dimensional chess. You begin to think on different planes of existence, all interacting into the same game itself. I think there's potentially great knowledge that is ready for those who are ready for that. I mean, try if you're not ready for it, don't do it. I mean, it's cool. I mean, the way I look at it, why get your panties all in a wad, Relax, If it's not your cup of tea, we'll go pray. It's all right. The thing about it is you can't get away from it, man. It's like, man, once it's sticky, man, it's just like, you're not going to get it off you. And how many of you ever have gotten graphite on you? You can't get that stuff off. And I remember the days back when, the copy machine used the canisters filled with the ink. So this is kind of the similar thing. We do it all the time. It's amazing as I look back in the corporate world that I was in and how many meetings that you would be there for a particular purpose, and how someone, boom, gets this idea. Like, wow. And I remember, because many times I would be facilitating the meeting, heading it up, that I would see certain individuals just drift off. You can see it in their eyes. And then they come back and they have this remarkable inspiration of an idea. Yeah. We live it all the time. And I think we got to get better at it, folks. If the Palladians are out there, if the Orions are out there, they have to be. They have to be. Anyone who looks at any of the pictures we're seeing today, we've upgraded our telescopes. We're seeing further and further and further back. The vastness of space we cannot comprehend. We can't even comprehend our solar system, much less our own galaxy. But our galaxy is filled with life, intelligent life. Now, I don't know why things are the way they are. It may very well be that we have been captured. We're an experiment. We're in quarantine. Number of different thoughts and beliefs, but I believe in the power of channeling. Again, it's just a matter of your point of view as to what you want to call it. I, for decades, channeled to an unseen deity. Had no idea what it was, what it looked like, etc. But the interactions that I had were as real could be. Obviously, you are tapping into something. Modern religion would say you're tapped into the Holy Spirit. Really? How is that not channeling? You know, as I look back on my life, very early, I was very in tune that I was in a cocoon. I knew I didn't belong here. I felt, I can't describe it. It's an essence. This one had color. And all through my life, there have been points that I can now see where there was something was trying to get to me. Well, I understand what it is now. No, it took a while, but so let's get into the PDFs I spoke about because they're really cool, folks. They really are. This one, excuse me, that's not what I was wanting to share. It's like, would you drive the bus, dude? All right. So the little book of channeling. This is it's a delightful read. It's a story. It's a good story. It will help. It really will. So I want to get over to Mr. Cayce's books. Edgar Cayce, all of us, most of us know Edgar Cayce. There was a time back in 1976, 77 that I was very much a part of Edgar Cayce and his association. And then Christianity came in, and, you know, it's amazing. I just exchanged one for another. That's all. But you know, the thing that Edgar Cayce, he was an interesting guy all the way around in how he saw things. And he was in his, you can read his readings, but he was probably the first one that I probably could see it. But as I look back, and when I think about when I stepped out of Christianity, but within Christianity, I remember Catherine Coleman. She would channel right there on stage. Kenneth Copeland channeled all the time. I mean, all these ministers that are anointed in the gifts of the Spirit, so to speak, what you're witnessing is a full-blown, real-time interaction. Now, people will mock someone who's channeling like Chiron, who I think is a Palladian, but is channeled through different people, different parts of the world. Same thing, just different spirit, different being. Edgar Cayce said, learning that you too are a channel of spirit can be a means of spiritual awakening. The highest psychic realization, Cayce declared, is that God talks directly to human beings. Man, isn't that the truth? It's very clear, folks. This is what it means to be human. So he writes on, he says, what is channeling? Now, I gave you a description. Let's see how well, if they match up here. In its most general sense, it's a means of transmission. All right, transmission is another word you can add for communication. The channel receives and passes along the information. Inspiration and creativity are aspects of channeling. Mind blown. Are you creative? Where does that creative talent play? My wife and I, good friends, were meeting a couple, and their son is a prodigy. Creativity, folks. That child is tapping into something, and it's way above most people I know's intelligences. being able to elevate others to higher states of consciousness and bring out the best in people. Folks, do you need a better reason? Imagine it if everybody took to becoming proficient channelers. Edgar Cayce's work is known as the classic channeled metaphysical literature. We are all channels of divine energy. Isn't that the truth? It is transmitting something which is beyond one's personal self. A channel may be asleep, in meditation, in a trance, or awake while channeling. Well, this is lining up exactly with what I did in the PowerPoint today. In fact, this is the same prescription. A channeler brings forth information that's not part of the channeler's own learning or experience. There are many ways to channel, as there are individuals that channel. Every day, in countless ways, you and I are channels of spirits, of ideas, of resources that come from beyond our conscious personality. Let me ask you something. I was standing in the kitchen waiting for my tea to brew, and I asked myself, where is my thoughts coming from? Where in my body? Where is this thing I call consciousness coming from? And it became very clear to me in this moment of revelation that whatever the process is, it is manifesting within the ability of the auditorial cognitive reasoning space, which I don't even know if it's actually in me or you. I believe our true state of consciousness lies outside these bodies. I have had visions as a child of actually seeing the fact that I was the dreamer. I knew what this was going to be. Who knows? Our channeling abilities have profound impact on our own lives and the lives of those around us. We can become aware of this fact. We can realize that we're channelers and can consider which type of channeling we wish to perfect and use. Rather than channeling without awareness of what we're doing, we can take more active, creative role in our channeling. Again, if you're doing housework, yard work, many times your job, you can literally, folks, be in two places at the same time. And if you get really proficient about it, you're aware can hold on two conversations at the same time. Those around your office mates and the one that you're having with whatever you've tapped into. There have been times when I needed the creativity. I'm the type of person that I get up very, very early. I've learned that between the magical hour of 3 and 5, my answers will come. Always. Always. And I will begin to do sometimes mundane tasks. And that's when it takes place. My conscious mind goes out. I'm aware of speaking out, and I fully expect an answer to come back. Always. We continue. By doing so, we assume our birthright, our mission in life, to become a channel of blessings to others by the way we willingly choose to channel our energies. Wow. Let's continue. Chapter 2 says, listen to your intuition, the channel of your guardian angel. Now, sometimes people get wrapped around the axle because you use the word angel. All right, guide, fellow human being. I don't know. Tribe member. Maybe you're of the family. Maybe it's an ancestor. But we'll use this nomenclature here to suffice for what we're meaning. Intuition is the highest form of psychic ability, Edgar Cayce wrote. Now, here are the guidelines on intuition as a channel of guidance. Intuition is information that comes to you from universal intelligence or God, and in this respect, it is referred to as a channel. It guides you on your path to your highest good. You know, I know a lot of people in religious communities that rile against this. Oh man, this is of the devil, and they just go off on a tangent. But what I don't understand is not good good? Is not recognizing the supreme creator, the infinite being, God, however we want to term that, if it's good for humanity, good for the human, isn't that good? How can that be bad? How can that be in any way negative? I don't see any negativity to this, except sometimes those people that put those thoughts out. The psychic side of intuition. Intuition never comes randomly. There is always a purpose and a reason. Intuition is more than psychic ability. It draws a conclusion and directs your actions like a faithful guide dog who knows you and knows what's best for you. Many times, intuition guides our actions without our knowing it. I wonder how many times we have been in situations where we were not even aware that the actions that we were doing in our superconscious state was having impact on our state of consciousness that we call being awake. All knowledge is within. Now, Cayce defined intuition as knowing from within. I mean, how freaking poignant is that? So 2 keystones to Cayce's teachings. Number 1, knowing that all knowledge comes from within, and 2, learning to look within. Isn't that the modern day mantra that you hear everywhere now? You know? Because it's true. The truth is within. Trina and I talked about that at depth. We'll probably talk about this next week. She'll be on Tuesday. Eugene Hiragill traveled to Japan to learn about Zen. Finally, Master Kenzo Awa, the Reverend Archer, agreed to work with him. Eugene spent countless hours learning how to draw the long and very stiff Japanese bow. He shot at no target. He learned the target was an inward one, a state of mind. That's why it's almost impossible for the average person to pull that bow back. It was never meant to be physically. Finally, during the 5th year, the master brought out a target and demonstrated shooting. The master could hit the target every time without hardly looking. He joked that his master had learned to shoot in his sleep. Later that evening, at the master's studio, he revealed an amazing secret. In pitch blackness, the master shot at a target twice and hit it both times dead center. The master explained that we believe we need our eyes to see because we believe the world is out there beyond us. If you separate yourself from the target, you then have to learn the trick of how to hit it with the arrow. The art is to become one with the target. Remember the Matrix? Allowing the arrow to return to its natural home. Now, see, this was written before the Matrix. And you can see now where the Wachowski brothers got it. Remember the child? The trick is not to bend the spoon with your mind. That's impossible. But to become the spoon. An archer who aims the arrow at the target is merely a trick shooter. The archer who becomes the target is on the path to realizing Zen's great secret. The great secret to developing intuition is to follow the path because it leads to our true nature, one with God, not because we want to become psychic. We'll break off there. It's a good point. We'll pick this up tomorrow. We've only just begun because all of this is related. It's related to virtually everything that we base our understanding, our knowledge, our faith. Wild stuff, though, isn't it? I mean, this is really what I call just far out stuff. Think of the possibilities, ladies and gentlemen. Think the possibilities in a family that is so aware of their children's natural abilities that the parents feed and encourage those abilities to be grown, to expand, and that the family as a unit begin to channel together. You would see virtually the problems of society evaporate. You would have no more need for greed. You would have no more lust to gain wealth, fame, fortune. You realize that's just vanity. And when that becomes, then you're not going to have any more American Idol shows or whatever the rest of those crap things are. That'll collapse. In fact, TV itself would collapse because we would learn that the true art of communication, I dare say even entertainment, lies within our minds. Yeah. Think about it. I heard the weirdest thing in my headphones. Think about it. All education. My God, the teachers' union would implode. You know, the biggest scam on the American public is public education. Anyway, that's a personal opinion. But the facts do prove that out to be true. But in any case, imagine if we start doing this. Imagine if David Barry and I came up and we saw Brandy walking along and we just stopped and we said, hey, how are y'all doing? You know, we hug and we go. And we said, why don't we just take a couple of minutes here and let's just reach out and see if there's anyone wanting to talk. You know, we may come up with something. Think about it. It's a whole new way of greeting someone. Instead of people to go to hell low, you know, we would aim high. And it wouldn't be with a joint, you know, we'd actually, you know, get the true meaning of the word. Hey, Trina, how are you, dear? Hey, Julianne, good to see you, dear, as well. Marguerite, all the rest of y'all. So, all right, this has been far freaking out, man. You thought I was going to say something else, didn't you? No, but then again, you know, someone put that thought. So, you know, the master controller, me, I'm sitting outside this body. I know it. So are you. But we're in the game. And that's the exciting part. And we can do some serious advanced work here. Once we get rid of all the biases and all the prejudices and unleash our minds, allow the creativity to fill our imaginations, folks, we can go places that, to quote James T. Kirk, what would God need with a spaceship? A starship, I think is the exact term. Wow, this has been good stuff. All right, folks, man, tune in tomorrow. We're going to pick right back up on this. I love where Cayce's going. In the next book we have behind this really begins to get into it. And I think we ought to venture into the Palladian workbook. I got it. And let's see if maybe this group, maybe we can make a communication to a request to the Palladians to send us, either one of us, or I don't have a problem with a representative. Folks, there's no boundaries here. And I think we need to start busting the boundaries out. If we find a boundary, let's push through it, because we don't know what lies in the other side. Happy All Souls Eve. There we go. All Souls Day. All right, folks. I'll see you tomorrow on Souls Day. So let's rock and roll. All right, bye. Appreciate it. And by the way, y'all are just groovy people. It's fun to be around you. All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.